gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my top 5 War Doctor moments ranking, where I'll be taking a look at my 5 best moments from the War Doctor's few on-screen stories. Again, this is on-screen only, so I'm not counting books, comics, or audios. And in the case of the former and latter points, he's only got 1 and 12 of those. Comics, I think he's got a couple of those. But in terms of television stories or films, just what we got here. Technically. Also, before we start, again, same rules from what I said at the start of the 8th Doctor's ranking applies, and this will be the last ranking or review before Series 1 reviews start. Promise. This is the last one, because technically the War Doctor comes between the 8th and 9th Doctors. After completing the 8th Doctor reviews, we're going to do this, and then we're on to the 9th Doctor reviews. So I promise Series 1 reviews are next. So I promise that we'll be starting the Series 1 reviews with Rose next. That's a promise. So, the 5 best moments of the War Doctor's era, in my opinion. Let's get started, first of all, with the honourable and dishonourable mentions. Dishonourable mention first. This scene comes from Day of the Doctor, which, personally, my favourite story at the moment. It might change when I get to that review. But one thing that I wasn't so keen on, that is more concerning the War Doctor than... But one War Doctor moment that I wasn't so fond of in that story, well, it was actually kind of difficult to choose a bad or dishonourable mention for the War Doctor, or the 8th Doctor for that matter, actually. Because, as far as I'm aware, they kind of had most of it was all that good. There was just a few points that weren't that great, and I had to choose something, so I chose something that I wasn't so keen on. With the 8th Doctor, it was him acting a lot like the 11th Doctor in a bit of Night of the Doctor. Here, when the War Doctor's with his 11th and 10th, here with the War Doctors with the 11th and 10th Doctors, they realise they can use the sonic screwdrivers to scan the structure of the wall, and they can calculate how long it could take to deconstruct it, which they were talking about a little bit earlier. The reason this is a dishonourable mention is because this little conversation, whilst it sparks conversation and cooperation between the Doctors, it doesn't go anywhere. Clara opens the door. They find out it's not been locked at all, so it doesn't really go anywhere. That's why it's a dishonourable mention, because it doesn't really go anywhere. But that's just a nitpick in the story. But for War Doctor moments, it was a dishonourable mention. But it's not a huge problem, so I'm not going to bash on it too much. It does get focused on a little bit, and then it becomes irrelevant. But apart from the teamwork stuff and the cooperation. But for this moment's ranking, I just had to put something. So I chose something that I wasn't so keen on, but doesn't really affect me too much. The honourable mention, on the other hand, is a really great bit, but it only lasts a few seconds. Like, literally a few seconds. And it's the continuation of the 8th Doctor's regeneration, which came 4th on my 8th Doctor's ranking. And this is the Doctor No More. And this is Doctor No More. What I was basically saying is that after the 8th Doctor regenerates into the War Doctor, we've got his very few seconds where he's strapping up, he's touching Cass's face and kind of remorse for not being able to save her, and then picking up the belt and striking it on him, and he's prepared to go into battle. And we see a young John Hurt from stock footage of old BBC TV show, but it looks great and shows the younger War Doctor, like how we sometimes imagine a younger First Doctor, looking a little bit different to William Hartnell, like with Ben's What If Doctor Was an Axed series, when he had the film Doctor Who Genesis, which saw Doctor Who, the Doctor's origins, as well as the new 14th Doctor tried to get her first Doctor, well, not try to get her first Doctor from the path, but sort of make sure he does go off and travel in the universe. And in that film, we had the younger First Doctor, played by Jeremy Irving. I say we, I mean if that projected contextual universe. So the younger John Hurt here does sort of show the change of age within the Doctors, as well as prove the point that they can have younger selves. So, like, if there was ever to be a story like with Ben's Doctor Who Genesis, such as with Ben and Wendy Banks, Doctor Who fan, What If Doctor Who Wasn't Axed, Doctor Who Genesis show the younger First Doctor. If they ever wanted to do that, then they could get another actor in and just say another actor in and say, oh, he's the young First Doctor, or he's the teenage or child First Doctor if they're going that far back. And it's just a really cool brief moment as well, pretty much wrapping up the 8th Doctor regeneration moments that I mentioned on that ranking, 8th Doctor ranking. Okay, on to the top 5 moments themselves. We have the War Doctor's regeneration from The Day of the Doctor. This is where the War Doctor has just accepted being the Doctor again. He's after saving Gallifrey, he's accepted the name of the Doctor, and he realizes he is the Doctor again. And he then regenerates into Christopher Eccleston, although we only see the eyes to start with. And it will probably regenerate off screen, just like the 2nd, 3rd Doctor regeneration. But it's still a really nice scene as the War Doctor accepts changing into his next incarnation, and he's happy about it. He's fine. He's now the Doctor again. He's redeemed. He knows he's gonna forget about it afterwards, but he can still enjoy the last few seconds knowing, and then he's gonna look forward to the future. Though no one told him, because he forgets about what happens, his future's not exactly going to be that happy. Well, it's not his next incarnation anyway. Not about what's just happened at least. Okay, moving on to number 4. Also from Day of the Doctor. Don't be surprised if you hear that quite often in this ranking. And it's Meeting the Moment. When the War Doctor gets to the barn where he's preparing to use the moment on the Time Lords and the Daleks, its consciousness pops up, and whilst I'm not so fond of the consciousness's mannerisms and moving about, showing off stuff to start with, once it's revealed that it's taking the form of a future companion, Rose Tyler, and then says, oh wait, no, I'm the bad wolf, and then it's pretty much established that it is the moment, the consciousness. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it's actually got some cool conversations with the War Doctor in the second part of the scene, and some decent bits. The moment does kind of watch over the War Doctor throughout the rest of the story, up until the Saving Gallifrey stuff. And I think, yes, it's good. Some of the showing off stuff is a bit awkward, and some slight awkward, and some awkward editing choices. But once we find out it's the moment, things go fine. Number 3 is that reveal from The Name of the Doctor. Wow, what a reveal. Yeah, this was a great twist, a great reveal. Yeah, I know some people would prefer the 8th or the 9th Doctor to be the one who fought in the Time War, but I can't understand where Stephen Moffat was coming from, where he couldn't imagine 8 or 9 doing it. He couldn't, and Chris didn't want to come back. He thought about it, but he eventually declined. So Moffat created the new War Doctor as a kind of a gap between the two. I mean, there were theories about a Doctor between the two in the first place, and it turned out to be a secret incarnation who fought during the Time War, and the Doctor was trying to hide them away. So every time he mentions the Time War, he's just thinking that the 8th or 9th Doctor fought in it, or he doesn't like thinking about it, and because he remembers that other Doctor. Point still stands, it was a great twist, a great reveal, and some really great stuff. Even the introducing John Hurt as the Doctor bit was really cool as well, although it would happen in the credits as well, and you wouldn't catch classic series or even RTD era Doctor Who doing this, but you know, it works for here. This is fine. I think it's a one-off anyway, and does a great job, and excellent reveal. Okay, number 2 is back to Day of the Doctor, and we've got the last scene of Day of the Doctor, home, the long way round. Now, admittedly, this is more of an 11th Doctor scene than a War Doctor scene, but I think having all 12 Doctors standing on this cloud, staring up at Gallifrey just before they go back to their own time, or if this is even just some sort of dream, perhaps, it's still really effective, and it shows the power of the Doctors, apart from Capaldi, who's not there for a reason, because his other bit was a cameo, but, you know, that's fine. And also establishes that the 11th Doctor was the earliest Doctor to remember this this stuff without going away and forgetting about it right after happening. See Time of the Doctor for Exhibit B. But yeah, it's still a fantastic final scene that wraps up the story spectacularly, and I had to include it on this list because it works really well. The War Doctor is there, and he's happy to see his other self his future self come along and join the rest of them, and it's just really cool and just a lovely staple image. But number one is another scene that features all the Doctors, this time also including 12, that just blew everybody's minds, or at least nearly everybody's minds, I should think, when it happened, and that is saving Gallifrey from Day of the Doctor. This scene is outstanding. Apart from maybe the Sylvester McCoy archive footage not lining up, and it is all archive footage for the Doctors besides War 10, 11 and 12, and the newly recorded First Doctor audio, and we can get some of the other Doctors back in for new footage. But you know what? Besides that, fantastic. It's amazing. The Doctors, War 10 and 11, come to save Gallifrey, and it's actually kind of coming off from the same thing. That's the sonic screwdriver calculating the stuff to break down the wall thing. That actually does come back into play here. And they have calculations that would take hundreds and hundreds of years to put Gallifrey into a pocket universe, like a stasis cube. And they'd be trapped either in an alternative universe and or at the end of the universe as a far future. But they would still have hope to be brought back at some point, which time the Doctor is kind of part of the plot. Is about the Doctor trying to defend the gateway to where the plot is partly about the monsters trying to stop the Doctor from bringing the Time Lords back, and he's more concerned about defending the citizens of that planet. And the fact that all of the Doctors up to 11 plus 12 making a surprise cameo appearance all come together to do the calculations that would take hundreds and hundreds of years, and they all come together to use those calculations to put Gallifrey in an alternative time, in a pocket dimension, where they can live happily until the events of the last 3 episodes of Series 9 happen, and they screw everything up for themselves. Well done. But it's an epic scene, some really cool stuff. Yeah, it's all stock footage of the other Doctors, but still really handled really well, apart from when they use TV movie footage of the 7th Doctor for some reason. Great new lines of dialogue for the First Doctor, and I love how they have the 9th Doctor clip in full colour as opposed to onto the full screen, full colour as opposed to a circle blue footage of the other Doctors. But it looks so cool, and the same for the 9th Doctor happens with the 12th Doctor's cameo. That's really cool. Oh yeah, the War 10th and 11th Doctors kind of have the blue circly bits as well because they're doing that, but they've also got the full-on shots. The only other problem I have is that the 11th Doctor does seem to have his script on set. The 10th and more Doctors don't. Yes, whoops. But you know what? Nitpicks aside, fantastic scene, and it ends in spectacular fashion. It also leads to the scene where the War Doctor accepts himself as a Doctor. So, yeah. So that's my top 5 War Doctor moments ranking. It might not be completely perfect, but you know, I think it's good. Trying not to do too much that had more with the other two Doctors of the story, 10 and 11, but I think the last two kind of had to. In fact, not just those 3 Doctors, but I had to include all of the 12 Doctors up to Matt Smith, plus 12th Doctor Peter Capaldi in my number 1 spot as well. But yeah, it's still some really great moments. Maybe the most in the moments has its downsides, but you know what? Still good. Okay, so to recap the list, number 5 is the War Doctor's regeneration from the Day of the Doctor. Number 4 is meeting the moment from the Day of the Doctor. Number 3 is the reveal from the name of the Doctor. Number 2 is home, the long way round from the Day of the Doctor. And number 1 is saving Gallifrey from the Day of the Doctor. So, yeah, that's it from me, and that's all my rankings for the end of the Wilderness Years. That's it, we're done. We're officially finished with the Wilderness Years. Well, technically we've done that with the last ranking, but now we've done the War Doctor gap between the 8th and 9th Doctor's eras, which means, finally, we're now onto the 9th Doctor's eras for reviews and ranking, which means, finally, we're now onto the 9th Doctor's eras. So, next time, for real, we will be starting Series 1 reviews with Rose, and I am looking forward to it. So, for reals this time, that's it from from the Wilderness Years and the 7th, 8th, and more Doctors eras. Next time, we're generally going on to the 9th Doctor's era, and next time we're generally starting the 9th Doctor's era with Rose, and I am super excited. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time for my review of Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. And then, because this is filling up a gap, because this is the War Doctor's gap between, because the War Doctor technically becomes, because like how we imagine the younger First Doctor might look like, something a little different. As well as, so yeah, that's cool. Okay, on to the yeah, this is where the Doctor, but you know, once we find out it's the moment, then it's all fine, apart from some of the editing choices. Home, the right back. See Time the Doctor for a better see Time of the Doctor as well, and see Time of the Doctor for that scene as well. Because they're in their way, so he's in the way of the monsters, so he's come to stand in for them. I'll cut that bit out. Where they could live happily until Hellbent happens and they screw everything. Where they can live happily until the events of just about all of the Doctors, apart from 12 in the second one, apart from 12 in my number 2 spot, but kind of had to include all of the 11 but had to include all of the 12, plus the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, in the last one. So plus the 12th. Maybe my Meeting the Moment one, maybe that wasn't so great after all. I should have. Maybe Meeting the Moment wasn't the best choice for them. But we've now done the 8th Doctor to 9th Doctor, War Doctor. But now we've done the War Doctor for reals this time. And I am super excited for this series. Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you guys next time for Rose. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you next time for my review of Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time for my review of Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. I'll see you guys then. No. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time for Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. No! Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, fuck it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys. Finally.